Trust the process. So this phrase, if you've never heard it before, if you've never used it in context within someone in conversation, for an example, if I were to use this phrase, trust the process, I would say, okay, one day I want to own my own company. And if I was to use this in a social setting, I would say, I want to own my own company, but I'm trusting the process until I get there. And it's a great phrase. I think it's something that definitely, is a good thing to say. I mean, sometimes it does take time, and it does take a process. It takes a strategy. And I'll get into that a little bit later. So I have an example that briefly I want to share with you that will definitely give you a visual kind of layout of what this trusting the process concept is, the phrase is. Today's society, we live in an era of the instantaneous mindset, in the at your fingertips. There's things like Grubhub, or there's Lyft and Uber, where at the click of a button, someone can be at your home or where you're located at to pick you up for a ride if you need somewhere. Your food can be delivered to you. There are social media platforms that do a lot of things to benefit you in a way that you don't have to leave your home. And that's a great thing, but it also kind of cripples our society, our youth, the younger generations that are to come. So the example I have is my favorite game when I was growing up was Connect 4. So when I was growing up, I used to play this game countless times. It was something that I enjoyed to do, and I still to this day. Actually, quite recently, I was playing with one of my baby cousins, and we had a great competition, and it was a good connection. So if you haven't played before, if you have a baby cousin, or maybe a niece, a nephew, a baby sister, a brother, even if you have children, this is something I definitely would think will challenge you, but also challenge them, and it will give you both a deeper connection and a deeper outlook to look at. So, I know you're wondering, why did I bring up Connect 4? What is the purpose of using this game for someone to look at a career or a goal or vision or dream? Wherever you're at right now, this game, I promise you, can be used to strategize your future. And the beauty of it is, it doesn't take forever, but it does take time. And that's one thing I think that a lot of people miss out when they use this term, trust the process. You think that, okay, well, I've done this for a while and I'm owed something. And it's a phrase that a lot of people use also, that they say instant gratification. And that can be something that we all want. I've been guilty of it myself, wanting instant gratification. After you've worked for a certain amount of period, you think that you're owed more. But sometimes you may have to become vigilant and still fight through and still persevere through adversity and through difficult situations. So saying all that to say, if we're starting this game, there is, if you've never played before, there's the black chips that you would place into this board game, and there's the red chips. So I'm going to start with the black piece. If I am using this black chip to start the game, most of the time you start within your foundation, which is the bottom here. And when you're starting within your foundation, this would be the first move that I would make, because there is nowhere else to start except from the bottom. Kind of hence the song that Drake says, starting from the bottom and now we're here. That's one of the things to think about. But also, you have a competitor, and that competitor says, I don't want you to connect for to win, to get a victory before I do. So they are going to block your path by moving here. Next, to counter that move and to ensure that the person that is making that move from you will simultaneously and in the same sense as a snowball effect, stop them in their tracks. And so on and so forth, until each player has run out of room, the black and the red pieces. Once you have reached, there's no more room between these two borders, the next place to go is up, because you're bound within this area. There's no more space to go. So next, this person would start to make a move here. And then a person would stop them, just like when we were starting horizontally, we would start here. Therefore, there's still competition, and you're still striving and striving and striving. But saying all that to say, I have another example of a full board that I want to kind of show of a person who actually has won and is victorious. So in this example I was showing you, here's a full board when someone has won. Now, if it's not obvious, if you don't see what the Connect Four is, I'll point this out for you right here. This would be a victory. Hence the connecting of the four dots. And this is a victory. Now I'm going to break this down a little bit more for you so you can see. Basically, when I said that we were starting from the foundation, which is this area here and here, this would be your entry level of your career. If you're starting out as a freshman in college, a freshman in high school, if you are an entry level into your career at a company, this is your starting point of wherever you are in life. Whatever goals you have, whatever your vision is, you have to start somewhere. One of my favorite motivational speakers, Les Brown, said, you don't have to be great in order to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great. And that's a great phrase because a lot of people think that, oh, I don't have the necessary tools and resources and I'm not qualified as much as the next person that is starting. But they probably didn't have as much as you think. A lot of people started from low places. A lot of companies started from difficult places, from failure. And here's one of the things. When you're starting out, yes, you've been in this position and you think that you need a more education and certain things like that in order to better yourself. And that is good, but at the same time, sometimes it just takes you maneuvering and strategically placing moments in your life and making strategic moves in your life. So for instance, I work for a company and I started out. So let's just say for me, using my example, I started out in supply chain. Let's say I started here. This is my first move, as I showed you earlier. This will be my first start. You're a freshman in one major, you're in high school. This is your first career position you've had before. This is where you are. And then next you think, okay, well, I've been here for a year or I've been here for 2 years. It's getting a little boring, or maybe I want to try something else. That's okay, that's fine. The beauty of starting somewhere is you don't have to complete. You're not finished yet. There is room to maneuver an entire board. And the beauty of it, like I said, is if you do want to do something different, you can declare a new major, you can find a new job or a new position. So let's say, hey, if I've tried supply chain for a year, most people want to go up. They want to, have promotions and get raises. But from a management perspective, a bird's eyes view, it's like, well, you've been here for a year, but what have you learned that would give you the necessary qualities and capabilities to do this at a higher level? So instead of looking for a higher position, maybe a better way to look at this is to make a more horizontal move, which is to say, okay, well, maybe since I've done a supply chain job, maybe I'll try a finance job and move here. And after I've done that for a little while and I've mastered those capabilities, I've mastered that objective for that position, maybe I'll try an HR job, something new I've never tried before. And yes, someone that started with you at that same position in that same department may get a promotion, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get that same promotion, because what someone else is doing, yes, it's to challenge you to be better, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are the same person. You're different. So your moves are always going to be different. So never strive towards someone else, because this black piece can never be this red piece. And that's the beauty of it. You're two different players, two different people in life. So another good thing is also, once you have made, like I said on the other example, when you've run out of room to go on this level, and you've gained multiple areas of experience, that is a good quality to have. That's a good resume to potentially use for your leverage when you're going for that promotion, when you're going to an interview. So now when you interview for this next level, I dropped my pen. So now when you're interviewing for this next level, you can say, well, now I want to apply for this position. I want to move up. And yes, you've been with the company for a certain amount of years, but you also have multiple areas of experience, and you can use those as your leverage, as I said, to say, hey, I have this experience at this position, or I've done this in this position, and I can use these qualities, these work experiences and challenging moments as potentially something that could benefit me in this new position. And then finally, you can move up even again. Once you've run out of room on this level, you can move and promote up to the next level until finally, when you look back after you are victorious, where you're at a manager, if you want to be a business owner, that you can basically leverage and use that to say, well, wow, I've actually done it. And when you connect the dots at an interview, you can say, well, I've done multiple positions within this level, and I've done multiple positions in this level, and I've done multiple positions within this level, and they've all basically built your foundation until you get to the position that you want to be in. It doesn't take 10 years, it doesn't take a lifetime, but it does take time. And it doesn't necessarily mean it won't happen. It just means you're going to have to trust the process. And that's a good thing about it. For your business owners out there, one thing I think you should definitely think about is if you've never worked in these entry-level positions before owning a business or running a business, how will you be able to talk to these entry and intermediate level workers? If you've never done it before, it's like, how could you tell me how, for instance, if I owned a restaurant, how could you tell me how to serve or to run a drive-through or to clean certain areas and do certain things if you've never kind of been through that before in that industry? You only know basically the paperwork, the book level, the high level view if you've never worked on these entry-level positions. And that will be, kind of difficult for someone to take advice from you because it's like, have you ever been a cashier before? Were you ever a server before? Were you ever a waiter before? And that will be something that's, kind of looked down at. It's almost in a sense like, well, who are you to tell me you've only been, at this area, this level? And that's something to definitely think about for your future and your goals. So I hope this is something that encouraged you. I hope this is something that you can use for your future. And I definitely want to see the comments, see your responses, and see your likes and your reposts and everything. And I hope this is something that will help you for any goal or aspiration you have in life. You can do it, like I said before. And I'm proud of you.